side of the mountain. I'm doing my best to make it in. Changing hearts and minds to grow. Hi, this is Jacqueline here with the Grow Program. Thank you for growing with me on today. That's exactly what I'm doing, changing hearts and minds to grow over this oppression that we find ourselves in. Pat Robertson said that that we are under oppression and that we need to do some kind of takeover or something. But I want to tell Pat Robertson something. Yes, we are all under oppression. The oppression affects us all, directly and indirectly. But what I do want to tell him, ain't nobody trying to take over nothing. All we looking for is genuine equality and righteousness and to be acknowledged as human beings, because we not 3/5 part of nothing. We are all 100% human. Ain't no animal DNA in us. We just different skin color. That's all. So this Constitution once said that we were part animal. They need to fix that. All the wrongs need to be righted. They need to determine and need to say, talk about what the Africans have contributed to this country and around the world, and make things right. Yeah, we learning history. Everybody know history. We all know history. Can't deny history. But what we need to do now is move forward. That's healing. Acknowledging what happened and moving forward to become a better people, to become a better tomorrow for our children, for those who look up to us. They look up to their lawmakers and their leaders. And what example are these lawmakers leaving for these children? What are they showing for these children? They showing them how they can get up there and don't know how to do a thing, can't come together and get nothing done. We got two different parties. The parties are supposed to be able to compromise for the good of the people, but something done happened now. We got something that went on that has never happened before. We had an insurrection against the United States government, that happened in the Capitol building, and these children saw this happen. These children see that it's been some kind of cover up. Now we got to open up a commission to find out what happened when we really do know what happened. It was an insurrection, an attempted insurrection. And so now it's a cover up, and it was like a tour. Don't nobody die in no tour. This was not no planned tour. Mike Pence in there certifying the vote. He didn't know a tour was coming through. Nancy Pelosi in there, they doing their work. The lawmakers was doing their work. They didn't know a tour was coming through. The man who said it looked like a happy tour. He didn't look too happy to me. He was pinned up against the wall, look as frightened as can be, just like everybody else. See, because they didn't know there wasn't no tour coming in there that day. They didn't know that. So now they trying to whitewash everything and, make like it didn't happen. Ain't nothing to see over here. Just like Leslie Nielsen in that gift standing there while everything behind him is tearing up, falling apart. Ain't nothing over here to see. Yes, it is. Move out the way. Because we really need to see what went on that day. We need to see what happened on January 6th so we can get to the bottom of this so it won't ever happen again. Because, see, this is not how democracy works. Democracy don't work how you come in and overturn the government, and throw out the votes of the people and the wishes of the people. You didn't win the election. That's it. So it's time to move on. It's time to move forward. That's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to build up, move forward, but still we got, this one over here talking about, look, I really did win. So, he got the attention deflected on him and took, and taken off where it really need to be. This pandemic, these people, and justice, because what happened that day should never happen again. It shouldn't have never happened that day. So, I just want to move on from that. But that is a part of the oppression that we're dealing with, because the hate came looking for the lawmakers that day. The hate came in looking for the lawmakers. So now we got to right the wrongs. Now we see, evil is not racist. Now we see that. We all know that now. What I've been telling you, evil is not racist. It affects us all at this point. It trickles down, and now it affects us all. We are all being affected directly and indirectly by this oppression all over the world. And we are growing from it, honey, in 45 countries. We are growing over the oppression in this world, understanding that yes, it's going on, but God and gave us a plan. So now we growing strong, going on in the will of God, growing on in the plan of the Lord. That is to grow. That is to grow over this oppression, to drive this evil out, to drive this hate out the world. Because I'm tell you something. It's the oppression, honey. The oppression leads to depression and all that other stuff. You just get tired of it. You sick of it. Every time you turn on the news, they talking about a new scary movie coming out. All you gotta do is turn the TV on. You see, and that stuff right there is scary. All this evil going on under the sun, honey. We don't need to see no scary movie and pretend to be scared. All you gotta do is turn the TV on. You're gonna be scared for real. Turn on some news. Take 5 minutes of that and you'll see what's going on, what's really happening. And now somebody want to be part of the committee to find out what happened with the insurrection. Marjorie Taylor Greene, all you got to do is look in the mirror. You'll find out what happened. We all know, honey. And so now we got to get to the bottom of it. Yeah, you sit up and insinuate, okay, I'm going to pretend they didn't do it. I'm going to pretend that it didn't go. I'm going to act like it didn't happen. Okay. Well, let me ask you this question then, since it didn't happen, since we want to pretend they was on a tour. Why did Lauren Boebert tweet out the speaker's location? Why was that? Why she do that? We never did get the answer to that. Who authorized the tour that day? Mike Pence didn't even know that the tour was coming through. See, who authorized, if it was a tour, who authorized for this tour to come in there? That wasn't no tour. That was a riot. That was a deadly insurrection. That was an attempt to overthrow the government. Some old Adolf Hitler stuff that they tried to do, but it didn't work, and it ain't gonna work, not under God's watch. Because God said, my will shall be done on earth as it is in heaven. So, here we grow, bringing forth the message of the Lord, and that is love. That is to drive the evil and the hate out. Because I'm going to tell you something. God ain't got nothing to do with no insurrection, honey. God moved the people out the way. God put a man in the way to move the evil away. God put a good man right there, Mr. Goodman, and took the evil on the other way, away from the lawmakers who was there to do their duty. Wasn't no tour coming on the day that they certifying the vote for the presidency. What kind of foolishness is that? And what type of GOP lawmaker gonna say some mess like that? Even I wouldn't say nothing. A tour, and he walking through with a Confederate flag, that's a tour? See, that's what I'm saying. They want to make seem like Americans and the world is crazy. It's just as crazy as they are. But we ain't, honey. We got all our senses. And the one sense that God did give us is common sense. But one thing somebody told me, common sense ain't common. So, now we know this. We know that this was not no tour. We getting ready to find out the bottom to all of it, honey. But I'm going to tell you something. I don't even have a TV. You hear me? I don't have a TV because I don't want to focus on the oppression. I find out all the information that I need to know, and I move on. It used to be a time where I run to the TV, be so scared, worrying about what's getting ready to happen next. What they gonna do now? Well, where they at now? What they talking about now? Find out the latest. I'm going to tell you what the latest is. The latest is it's time to grow. It's time to change hearts and minds to grow. It's time to grow over this oppression. It's time to drive this evil and hate on up out of here, on up out of the world, because we can live together, amongst one another. Different skin, one love, one God who created us. But what we got to do is get over this right here. We got to get over this so we can all come together for genuine equality and righteousness. That's all anybody want. That's all Africans want is genuine equality and righteousness. Pat Robertson, ain't nobody trying to take over nothing. You stoking fear. That's all you doing. Saying things like that. Ain't nobody trying to take over anything. But yes, you are correct to say that we are oppressed. Yes, we are. We are oppressed. We are under oppression. And we want genuine equality and righteousness and to be acknowledged as human beings. That's it. And move on and live together in harmony the way we supposed to, righteously. Righteousness for everybody. We got a problem here with this mass incarceration. Mass incarceration is what's really making a dent in the African population. It ain't the killing, the police killing different things. It ain't that. That's just a distraction, honey. That's a distraction to the real problem. And you looking at that and folks on that, but look, we got some other stuff going on. We got people in prison who don't belong in there. We got innocent people in there who just been thrown in there. This criminal justice system is not perfect. Yeah, she got the blinders on, honey, but I think she can see through that scarf. I'm telling you, some stuff going on that we got to fix. We got to right the wrongs because our children are looking at us. How can you honestly explain that? I can't even explain it to my daughter what happened that day on January 6th, except the evil came through. The evil came in. Evil is not racist. Evil came in looking for the lawmakers because they were determined. He said, go down there and be strong. They were determined they were going to go in there and be strong and overturn this election. Just take it. Just take it away from the people. That's what they were planning on doing. And hanging Mike Pence, hanging the vice president. So that's a tour. What kind of tour come through looking for the vice president to hang him and got a galley waiting on him outside? What kind of tour is that, Mr. GOP man? Can you explain that? Can you explain the look of fear on your face as they were pounding on the door trying to get in there to get at you? Because they didn't care who you was. They didn't know you was GOP. They didn't know who you was. If you was down with OPP, whatever. They just was coming looking for lawmakers, honey. They were taking them pins off and everything. Ducking and hiding from their own people. The one you said was coming in on the tour, you ducking and dodging and hiding from them. Okay. All right, see, that's what I'm saying. Ain't nobody on there what they talking about, honey. But I will tell my daughter that this world is not perfect. It's evil going on in this world, and I'm trying to fix it. She know I'm trying to fix it and make it better for them, honey. I'm trying to make it better for your kids, my kids, just trying to make it better for the future generation. Trying to get these street children off the street because evil counts them up for slaughter, honey. Evil will take our kids, and then there they go. And you think it ain't your problem, honey. Evil will groom them and fix them up. And then the next thing you know, ship them off to your country to do some stuff, to do some evil work. Because they ain't got nobody. Ain't no who's showing them love. Ain't nobody getting them up. But I'm telling you something. With this movement right here, honey, I'm getting ready to do some things. I'm getting ready to make a difference. Because where the government is failing, I'm coming in. I ain't asking no questions. I'm just going to come in and I'm starting to lift folks. I'm starting to lift people. I'm going to lift us from this oppression. We going to all grow in God, which is love. We going to all grow together. We going to all take a stand. Man, woman, kings and queens, keepers of the dream. We going to roll on to genuine equality and righteousness. Love, peace, and soul each and every day. That's what I wish on you, honey. Love, peace, and soul. Even to you, Mr. GOP man, love, peace, and soul each and every day. That was a slip of the tongue, but still, if the shoe fit, if it walk like a duck, act like a duck, it is a duck. But I tell you what, it ain't. It wasn't no tour. That's what it wasn't. Wasn't no tour guide showing them where to go. They already had the maps and plans and telephone different things, how to get where they needed to go. He knew right how to come in with that, carrying that flag. How you walking down the street with a Confederate flag? Where that come in at? How you just don't bring that up into the rotunda, the sacred rotunda? How do you do that? How do you live with yourself? Really, that baffles my mind. But, kings and queens, we gonna roll on. I'm telling you, we gonna roll on this soul train headed on to genuine equality and righteousness. That's what we looking for. Mr. Pat Robertson, ain't nobody trying to come and overtake anything. We just want genuine equality and righteousness, to be treated fairly, to be treated equally, to be treated righteously. That's all. As a people, as a world, to lift the oppression, to move the oppression out the way, to change hearts and minds, to grow, to sow the seeds of love everywhere we grow. So what about that, Pat Robertson? How about we start just sowing love? I love you. Let's start sowing love. Let's start showing love and watch the harvest that you grow. Watch the great big harvest that you grow and that you have. I want you to know that I love you. I want you to be lifted each and every day. Be lifted like the lightest feather, honey. Just go with the flow of God. As long as you in righteousness, go with the flow of God. You ain't got to worry about nothing. Just keep going on with God. See, and as we keep going on with the flow of God, honey, on the path of righteousness, what we gonna do is go ahead and drive this evil on out of here. Love, not hate, will make the world great. That's what we gonna go with. Love, not hate, will make the world great. We going on with the message of the freedom fighters before. The campaign of the civil rights campaign has always been a campaign of love. That's what they taught us. Different skin, one love. They always marching together. Caucasians, Africans, all marching together, sitting at the lunch counter together. We ain't finna pit one against each other. We gonna grow in love. That is God. God commands us to love. Different skin, one love, one God who created us, and here we grow in God. We're going to keep on pressing on toward the mark of the high calling of God. We're going to try to do righteous, because I'm going to tell you something. It's going to come a day and time. It's going to come a day and time, honey, when you transition and you're going to stand on the throne of God. If you can make it past the soul catchers, you're going to stand on the throne of God, and you're going to give your account. You ain't going to give their account. You ain't going to give his account. You're going to give your own account, and God going to ask you, what did you do? How did you do? If they don't already get to you before you get to God. I'm telling you, honey, this is serious. God's will shall be done on earth as it is in heaven. It's time to change hearts and minds to grow. It's time to grow from this oppression. Right now, today, we need to make the world better for our children, our little mini-me's, the ones who looking up to us, the ones who ask what we gonna do, when we gonna do it, how we gonna do this, when, where, how. That's what they ask all day long, so we need to show them. Sow love and watch your harvest grow. Greatness reached over oppression through wisdom. We gonna keep on growing all over the world. We just gonna keep on moving. I see it. I'm aware of it. Honey, I see it. I see what's going on. I see the evil moving. I see the working. I see this and I see that. But I also see God. I know that God is moving, honey. Just as right now, as I'm speaking, it's raining. But right off in the distance, I can see the sun. No matter what, the clouds gonna come. But the light of God is still gonna shine. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the beautiful glow of the light of God, because that's love. And I know that God is moving, regardless of the clouds and how they come. It's going into each life, some rain gonna fall. It's coming. So just know that. Keep your head up. Don't fall for the setup. Don't fall for the trap. Hold on to God. That's the rod and the staff. And keep going in God. Keep moving. Keep pressing on. Greatness reached over oppression through wisdom. Keep looking towards the Lord, honey. Keep looking to God. And we're going to keep growing in God. I love you. Be lifted. Be encouraged. Let's rise.